Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Mr. Mom's World. Today we're going to make a beautiful pumpkin soup just in time for fall. If you've gotten out to any of those great restaurants that are up and running again, pumpkin is the season. We are doing lots of spices, lots of nutmeg, cinnamon, all those kinds of things. This is a wonderful, very quick soup. We make it in the fall for some of our catering events here at the event center. So it's really easy, plain and simple. We're gonna start by sauteing some onions, a little bit of olive oil. Oh, well. So a little bit of olive oil and some onions. And then we're going to just add our little bit of garlic, saute those for a while. Woo, that's a nice little flame. Did we want to start that over again? So in our pan, we have our onions and our garlic sauteing. That's just going to be a couple minutes. We want to make sure that the onions are a little bit opaque as we go along. Again, nice fall recipe. This you can add, would be really good if you boiled up a pasta as well. You could put the pasta right in, make a pumpkin soup pasta, or make it a little thicker and have it as a sauce. If you're going to do that, I personally would add some bacon pieces, but today we're just gonna do a pumpkin spice soup. Okay, we're gonna saute that for a little bit. Again, salt and pepper. I always add a little before or as we're sauteing, and then save some for your final tasting. Okay, so as you can see, the onions are becoming a little bit opaque. That's perfect. We're gonna add in our stock. You can use a vegetable stock. You can make your own, you can buy it. If you wanna use a chicken stock, that's cool as well. And again, our recipe is going to follow this on our website, so feel free to look it up. Again, make it your own. If you want to add bacon to this, add some bacon to it. If you want to add some chicken to it, add some chicken to it. The beauty part of this is you can puree it when you're done and have a very nice smooth, or you can actually just keep the chunkiness, if you will, of the onions. Either way works. It's a preference thing at this point. So we're just gonna add in some rosemary. Again, just ship them off the legs. And we wanna simmer this 1 or 2 minutes. Again, it doesn't have to be long. We're just gonna soften the sprigs to this. Now you can use a fresh pumpkin if you want, or you can buy, which is what we've done here today. We bought a pumpkin puree in the tin. But feel free to use an actual pumpkin, boil it down, simmer it down, add a little bit of butter while you're simmering it. You can bake it off. A lot of people have baked pumpkins or stuffed pumpkins in the fall. And so you can do either one and then use the leftovers from it, but this just is so much easier. And again, I just add it now that this is simmered a couple minutes. Slowly add it. You don't need to add it all at once. Just bringing it to heat. And I don't think, again, a preference. It doesn't have to be exact measurements when you're making a soup because it all depends. I personally like a cream soup or a soup that is of a root nature. I like it a little thicker. So, the measurements of the actual pumpkin, squash, whatever you're using can vary depending on your actual preference. So again, you can add just about anything to this soup that you want, as I said, bacon, ham, or vegetables. You could actually make this a pumpkin squash soup if you want. Again, use what you have, use what you enjoy. That's the fun of cooking. We're just adding a little bit of honey now, giving it that depth of flavor, that little bit of sweetness. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. Now you can use you can use a variety of creams. I love a good coconut cream if you're lactose intolerant. If you like to use a heavier cream, such as a 36% or a 33%, that's great as well. You can also use a thinner cream, but thicken it with a little bit of cornstarch, tablespoon of cornstarch. Again, if you want it thicker, that's entirely a choice up to you. Now this is gonna simmer for about 10-15 minutes. It's gonna bring all the flavors, the rosemary flavor out. And again, you could save some of that rosemary just to give it a little quick garnish when you were done. Now I would also put in a little bit of pumpkin spice, possibly a little bit of nutmeg. Again, flavors dependent on you. You could certainly use allspice. You could use a little bit of cinnamon in there. Whatever your flavors are. Now, I know some of my friends would certainly, and actually a couple of my kids would probably want to put a little bit of heat in here, tad bit of chili. Again, if you're mixing it with a squash, that type of a flavor, you might want to add that just to give it a little bit of depth, maybe some chili flakes as well. But again, I like the fall, the traditional fall kind of flavors with the nutmeg and that kind of stuff. So now I would also put a little bit of butter in here as well. It just gives it that real rich texture. So it's simmered for a few minutes. Turn it on to low heat. It smells absolutely wonderful. So after about 15 minutes, you're gonna simmer it. You can dish it up. Again, for the sake of time here, we haven't quite simmered it the full 15 minutes, but the rosemary sprigs are still a little bit firm. I would certainly simmer it a little bit more, or you could pre-soak your rosemary. Now, that's great the way it is, and then we would just garnish it with some almond slivers. You could use cashews. And again, if you wanted to, you could add some chopped homemade croutons to the top of that, just that extra depth. Maybe put a little bit of Parmesan cheese, bake them off, and then top them onto your soup. I hope you had fun here today. Thank you very much for joining us for another edition of Mr. Mom's World. We hope that you have an awesome fall and lots of festivities going on here for the upcoming Thanksgiving. If you need to contact us, www.mrmomsworldcateringandevents.com. For any of our products, you can certainly go online and shop as well. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.